Hi there, folks. It's Novawing24 here once again for an amazing interview here at FS Expo 2023. And we are here now with the team, the brains and the brawn behind TFDi Design. So we're here with Colin today. Colin, great to have you here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
And of course, we're here with Fabio as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, team, I want to start here because TFDi, you guys have been around for quite a while. And I think, there's this one particular aircraft that, the name's escaping me at the moment, but it seems that the flight sim community love it. What was it? M something?
Might be
MD?
McDouglas Donald.
Donald's.
Donald, yeah.
No, the RMD11.
Yeah,
Yes.
MD11. So,
Of course, I had to start with some banter.
So, I'm curious because, you brought the MD11 to life in the legacy platforms.
Yes.
And because, now you're moving forward with it and you're bringing it to Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
So how has that journey been for you as a developer who's had to, not only develop an incredibly detailed aircraft with everything that goes with it, but to be able to make that step change to a different platform?
Well, the 717 was a great place to start for us because it was certainly detailed, but we kind of set a goal we could achieve. We did the daily simulation and said, okay, you know what? As long as you see what the pilot sees, we're happy. And then
which is what we see as virtual aviators. Yep.
So we considered it, I guess, study level in the sense that what was there was pretty much right. But we definitely had a hard line where we said, okay, that's beyond the scope of the simulation. We took the MD11 and then said, okay, how do we do more? And we took it a step deeper, and now we're digging through maintenance manuals now to write some of these things. Not even FCOMs anymore. We're looking for answers that even maintenance manuals don't have.
It's crazy. We look at simplified views, and it's this whole page of complicated wiring, and we're just having to be like, okay, simplified. Good to know.
So the trick was not doing it all at once. We had the first plane, and now we say, okay, we can build on the heels of that in the new platforms. Because we're not learning the platform. Well, we're a little bit with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but we're not learning as much how to make a plane. We're learning how to make a better plane. So it's a little easier to transition.
And that's a great thing to hear you say that, you're wanting to do better. You're not sort of happy to just, set, leave
we don't
things
coast.
as they are. Yeah, you don't coast. That's a great way of putting it. That, and you can see the passion talking through here that you want to... It's one of the joys, folks, of trying to do interviews in the middle of a place with over 2,000 people. Anyway, but you're not willing to just coast and just rest on your laurels, as it were. You want to create more.
The market has evolved. The technology has improved. Why shouldn't we?
Very valid. Absolutely. So what is the sort of next sort of step for this? So you mentioned that you're digging through maintenance manuals.
Yes.
So are we looking for new upgrades coming to the MD11?
Well, so the MD11 is new. That's in development right now. The 717 was our P3D version.
Right.
So we did that. That product, I think, is probably at the end of its development. However, of course, there's a whole bright new world of simulators to explore now with MSFS. So that's a discussion for another day.
Right.
But the MD11 itself, if you had the 717, you'll see where it's been improved. There's so much more in terms of circuit breakers or little things like that. Obviously, I think we're trying to do shared cockpits still, maybe not on day one, but the FMC, the little things that didn't quite work right in the 717, they work right in the MD11.
Right. Okay.
Those little fine details that when you really push it to its limits, the limits have moved a lot.
And it's interesting that you spoke about limits here because obviously we had the announcement before the conference of Flight Simulator 2024. But one of the things that the team at Microsoft spoke about was that they are hitting the limits of what 2020 can do. So do you see that as well as a developer? Is that your thoughts as well, that the current version of the sim was hitting its limits and you were finding those limits by pushing those boundaries?
I would say that's a fair assessment.
I think we have found a lot of limits. Not only, I think the platform's also a bit unprepared in some places.
Okay.
We found a lot of issues that we've had to go through and fix ourselves, obviously letting the team know about the issues. But it's interesting because we are hitting those limits pretty quickly and seeing what has been, we've yet to see it actually been put in a full-scale plane like this, right? We're still looking at very small planes in MSFS.
With the exception of the big few,
The big few, but we're looking, even they have some issues, like, we're looking at these white borders.
And a lot of them are external, too. A lot of them do external simulation, which we don't.
And bringing that back in as well is the fact that you strive really hard. Like I remember reading your post and stuff that you want to keep everything internal.
Yes.
You don't want to have to rely on external modules.
Correct.
External custom injected code. So and you've been able to achieve that.
So far, yeah. Everything that we have demoed here, nothing is external. So everything, all the systems, all the screens, the FMC, the magenta line projection, all that is in Wasm. It could technically, I would assume, go to the Xbox like this because we're not using any external program for it.
So, and that was, of course, one of the interesting things because, of course, with Microsoft Flight Simulator, being what it is, and the Xbox community being, the newcomers to our world.
Yeah.
Do you foresee your aircraft being able to be flown by our Xbox family?
I want to, but I want to qualify the statement because it's a desktop class simulation. We're not going to limit its capabilities to make it fit the Xbox. We're going to try to do the other way. We're going to try to push the Xbox and create an experience that works to bring a study-level aircraft to the Xbox, if we can. It's not a priority on day one. We want to do desktop simulation first.
Yep.
But it's something that I know we've thought about. And I just want to touch on the limits thing real quick, if I could.
No, absolutely.
We came into this weekend a little frustrated, admittedly, with the platform.
Something released blindsided everybody.
Yeah, and I actually had a chance to finally speak with the head of Asobo and ask some of those questions. Say, can they help me understand why we have these limits? Why are these seemingly where are these immovable brick walls coming from?
Yep.
And they actually were able to shed some light on it, and I got to give credit to them because knowing what I know now, they are in some cases just as limited as we are.
That's interesting.
And I didn't realize that the limits went as far as they did. They explained to me a little more. I'll save some of the super detailed stuff, but they explained a little bit more about how the Xbox API works and how even the environment that we write our gauges in works. Because just before we left, like the WASM, the whole recompiled, compiled code thing in WASM was kind of confusing to us, and it put a lot of limits on us as we've talked about networking and multi-threading and things like that. And I finally got a chance to get it explained to me by someone that is going through it, why it is.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole limits thing, I think they're pushing the limits now as much as we are. And I think that's where the stress comes from.
I think they've pushed some of their own boundaries as well to try and get people to be a little bit more happy with how the platform is. It's a little bit of a situation that we all have to kind of deal with together.
And it has matured a lot.
Yes.
And exactly. I mean, this is something that, watching, as much as you guys are always, continually adding and developing your products, Asobo definitely haven't rested on their laurels either.
No.
I mean, as they made in their announcement, 33 months, 33 updates.
Yeah.
That was mind-blowing. Even I...
That's a huge undertaking.
That's insane, the level of effort that goes into that. So your belief is, that the future is bright for us as a community.
Oh yes.
Yep.
For the first time ever, we have something new. P3D had been around for a while, but it was as it was built on the same kind of core.
Yeah.
You've worked on it as well. It hasn't changed a whole lot because it can't. It's that's the engine.
Yep.
We have a new sim bringing in a ton of new people. We've seen so many new faces here this year, and that is indicative of a really positive change.
Yep.
And I know we were kind of caught off guard by 2024, and I took a step back and thought about it and said, this used to be how it was. FS 2002, FS 2004, FSX, and we loved it. Everybody was happy to see constant updates. And then we finally get them. What do we all do? Complain about it.
Yeah.
And that was such a fascinating juxtaposition that I found on the community. And viewers of my channel will know that we've spoken about this a lot, is how we went from this essentially static platform, especially with FSX, which was static for, 10, 15, almost 15 years.
For a long time.
Everybody was pulling FSX, but it never fundamentally changed. And we were screaming out for updates. And yet, when we get what we wish for,
we complain.
We complained back, and we were like, no, this isn't what we wanted. Excuse me?
We finally took a step back and said, no, you know what? We got to give it a chance.
Yeah.
It's being here this weekend and getting a chance to see it in action and to talk to some of those involved kind of helped reshape my viewpoint a little bit. I don't know if it's you as well.
Yeah, it's very much been very eye-changing, mind-changing. Let me try and word properly. Sorry.
It's a long weekend.
There's a lot of handshaking, a lot of talking.
A lot of less sleep.
Yeah, that too.
But it's been quite mind-changing, and thankfully the team have been just as apologetic as we kind of expected. Well, not expected, but we wanted them to kind of understand our viewpoint, and it seems like they do, and they understand on top of what we even could. So I'm really glad to see that their team is also kind of receptive to what we're talking about.
Now, and I do want to sort of advance that. Like we just talked about how we're getting the advances in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and how the legacy platforms were very stagnant. So, of course, Lockheed Martin made their presentation yesterday, and they announced that they have a new sim that is about to be released on us, or an update, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that especially came out of that. Some of the feelings that I'm having from speaking and interacting with many of our community who are still prepared is still their primary sim. There's very much a feeling of abandonment and concern that the developers seem to be moving entirely, and to use a phrase, putting all their eggs in one basket.
Yes.
So what is your thoughts? Do you have plans of maybe? What's your plans for support? Are you still looking at maintaining development in the prepared and the X-Plane space?
X-Plane, we do have some, like our add-on utilities tend to work in X-Plane, but I don't think we plan to bring our aircraft to X-Plane right now.
Okay.
As far as P3D and MSFS are concerned, I mean, under the hood, I don't believe it's too dramatically different. And I know at least the MD is going to be on both, for sure.
We've made such a platform-agnostic system that for us, between P3D and MSFS, other than a few minor changes here and there, it's pretty much the same, right? That's how we built it, and that's how we want to keep doing it.
Okay.
Which is, we want to keep support for both at the same time for as long as we can.
As long as it makes sense to do so. I mean, at a certain point, if the market doesn't make sense or it can't support it, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I know right now there's a lot of support, and we've seen a lot of appreciation from the P3D users that aren't being left behind.
Right.
Although I understand the motivation to jump to the new emerging, probably larger platform, there is still definitely a user base in P3D, at least as of now.
Yeah. And again, that's why I think events like this are super important, because it allows to give the community a chance to actually interact with developers like yourself, where the community, we can speak our minds and say, this is, we are concerned that we've been left behind. Are you sticking around with us? And for you, as at the end of the day, developing is a business.
Yes.
So for you to know that there's still that desire to see your product on that platform.
I do think there reaches a point where, as a user, you need to evolve. And I said because we went through this with FS 2004 and FSX back in the day. You get in the 2012, 2013 era, and you talk about a 10-year-old sim. And at that point, there were add-ons for FSX. That was kind of the standard. It becomes really difficult and almost limiting to try to support the old platform. That is where we draw the line.
Okay.
If supporting the old one prevents us from advancing and using new technology, then that's where we start evaluating the time to move on. Like the 32-bit thing. That's the reason that it's not coming to FSX or any of the 32-bit simulators. Is even though it's the same as the pretty similar to the P3D environment, it just doesn't make sense for us, and it creates limitations on our part to have to deal with some of those 32-bit, those problems that are generated by using that environment or the older sims. It's not worth it to limit what you look at MSFS and all that it's capable of, and I'm not going to hold that back to account for a 10-year-old platform.
And that's the challenge, because at this point, FSX is now getting to be almost 20 years old.
It is, in my opinion, it's done.
Yeah,
it is time to move on.
It's as old as me. I mean, that's saying something. It's as old as me.
That hurts us, because that ow. That's right there. That hurt.
Yeah, I remember getting FSX, although I got it late. I was late to the game in FSX.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I was just born as it comes out. I mean, what a world. What a world.
Sorry.
Not that far apart.
So as well as going to do, so you do other work, obviously, apart from your amazing aircraft. So, and I believe SmartCars is your product. So have you, how have you found? And you said that works on different platforms as well.
I'll let him take this one because he's been finishing up the SmartCars project.
Cool. So what exciting things does our community have for SmartCars?
For the first time in, I believe, our company's history, we are going to multiple operating systems. So we're going to Linux.
Yes.
I know, big news. So Linux and macOS on top of Windows. And that means that we've got so much more support for so many more people who can actually fly for the VAs they want to fly. Yes. Right? We don't want to limit them just because I'm on Mac. Right? That's not a reason anymore. You can join in, be with
part
the
of that community.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, this is the important thing, is that we are a community. However we're separated, and it's great to see you breaking down those barriers, whatever they are, to be able to help bring more people into the community. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, we want to not create any limits, any boundaries. We want people to just get together, fly, and enjoy what they do. right? That's the whole point why we're here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we were talking before, there's so much handshaking and just, and meeting with people and being able to experience all that together has been such a great part of the weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So sort of to round it out, I'm curious, what's been your biggest thing for the weekend? What has been the thing you'll sort of look back and be memorable about and go, you know what, this made the trip worth it?
I'll let you take this
All
one
right.
for now, and then I'll answer.
All right.
Is this to give you thinking time?
I think I need to think for a second.
All right. Well, as far as the trip in general, for me, it's a little sappy, but it's getting to see all my team together. We spend so much time on Discord or over email or whatever the medium may be, and I'm so proud of the work that they do and the way that we operate remote. We all get together and it just amps up to 11. And there's so much energy, there's so much positivity, so much productivity in the room.
And the worst part is, folks, is because it's a live interview, I can't edit any of this out.
But there's just so much energy. We all got a chance to sit down and, we had a discussion last night. We were in the pool. I think we ate, 5 pizzas between the 12 of us? We just had the pizzas kept coming. We were just talking about things that would have had to have been an email or a Discord call any other day. Yep. And it was just so cool to get to finally see the team together. And I know they're all happy to be here, at least as far as they're telling me. But, of course they're going to give me a thumbs up. But no, I genuinely think that it's team building doesn't even cut it to say that. It's an experience unlike anything else, getting to take people that are part of your everyday life and finally, actually spend real time with them.
Yep.
I mean, you stole what was going to be my number one answer, but
I'm sorry.
I'll take the number 2.
Okay.
I think meeting everyone, right?
Yep.
Actually seeing the people, shaking their hands, saying hi, talking about it, and having them interact back with us. We don't get that any other time, right?
No.
It's usually text on a screen or a voice in your headphones, and this is just unreal, right? Seeing all the people that would have had to type something in to say something. That's not, you can't beat this.
It's the putting the face and the voice to the username,
The little
text chat.
username and the logo. Right? That's exactly it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear.
Once or twice, I think it was at the social on Friday. That or either Friday night or one of the days. Anyway, a couple of the people I used to work with at another company, all of them were there. And I realized all of the best programmers I've met in this industry are in one building right now. And I was starstruck.
Yep.
And I'm like, the first guy that I met was one that helped me learn many, many years ago and get used to the SDK when I first got into the industry. Another one was a guy that I used to have competitions with, like friendly, to see who could be more modular. Like, these are all the people that have shaped my career to some degree, and I hope in some way that I shaped theirs. And it was just, I'm like I said, I was starstruck. I'm like, wow, this is all of the names that I know, all the people that influenced me in my career, and they were standing right in front of me for the first time ever, all in the same place.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is great to hear. Well, look, gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much for joining us and telling us about your plans and giving our community a bit of an insight into our future. And from what it sounds like, the future for TFDi and the community is very, very bright.
I think so.
Great, cool. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks very much for tuning in, folks. Take care. Stay skies to all, and we'll see you on the next video.